Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 6 of the Underground Kings podcast. Today, I am joined by close friend and special guest, Kyle Massie. Kyle, welcome on the podcast.
Hey man, appreciate you having me on. It's fun.
Let's get right down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
So you founded both 963 Film Group as well as KJM Studios.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about both companies?
Yeah, so 963 Film Group is a full-blown video production company that specializes in marketing. They're a marketing company that uses a medium of video, Yes, I said that right. And so KJM actually is a sports-specific video production company that I kind of adhere to when I have sports come up, because not everyone can do everything, and I believe that being able to niche down so much into a specific type of video production is a good thing to do, so that people can recognize it a little bit better in those senses of things. So 963 is, going back, they actually have specialties within the company. So what I mean by they is I have filmmakers within the company itself that are specialized for weddings, one specialized for corporate events. I have one that's specialized for YouTube and comedy purposes. So there's a lot of different things that niches within, but they can kind of take care of the full scope of things.
And so KJM was the first?
Yeah, KJM, yep.
What year did you found KJM?
I believe KJM was founded 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. I started trying to, get out there, trying to do some video work. The story kind of tails back to a CrossFit competition gave me a chance, and then kind of blew up from there. The situation I was in, I was kind of able to learn at the same time, and my wife gave me the opportunity to kind of learn how to do video production. And we were able to take it and just run with it, and it worked like crazy. So.
And then KJM, really, the experience you earned or gained through launching KJM and working with clients, that's kind of obviously what you leveraged to move into launching 963. Yeah,
so what ended up happening was I realized that freelance doesn't sound as good as video production company, right? And that kind of sense is like, it's not just the fact of that, it's the being able to lean on a team to be able to help do some of the things, because I can't do it all myself. We recently released a podcast that'll be starting to air soon, but essentially we talk about in there like how we can lean on each other's strengths and weaknesses to be able to create the best kind of content for those kinds of people. If you're doing it freelance, that's great, but it's not going to be the most professional work, because I believe that you're not the best at everything, and there's no way you can be. So to be able to lean on different guys for different types of things, we can provide the best kind of product.
And what kinds of different facets within media are you talking about? Like, what are these different things, these skill sets that these people have?
Yeah. So, like I said, we have a wedding filmmaker. We have a sports filmmaker, myself. We have a gentleman who does corporate events. And we have someone who specializes in YouTube and comedy. And so those kinds of things, all encompassing, they can film those types of things and learn how to do, or not learn, they can provide the best capable film in those facets themselves, and then be able to help tie in on the back end, the editing portion of things. Like I tend to lean a little more towards color and how the flow of the film goes. I have a gentleman who's really good at sound design and sound engineering. I have another gentleman who's great at graphics. And then if I need some kind of comedic help, I lean on my guy that can help me out with the comedy side of things. So it's not like I can do all the things, nor can they. And so we kind of help each other in those ways on the back end as well as the front end, the filming and the editing. So
going back to what you said about freelancers, I mean, when we look at freelancers at scale, they're really just glorified employees with more time freedom.
Yeah.
In all reality.
And that's not a bad thing. It's
Correct.
not a bad thing to be a freelancer. I want to make that very clear. But the fact of the matter is I want to be able to build a company that can lean on each other to be able to, adhere to bigger clients that need a full blown video production company that understands teamwork and understands ethics and morals and all the things that come along with that. We really want to be able to showcase that we can take on projects that not one person can. And that's where the idea can span from.
Okay. So there's a little bit on both 963, KJM, the two companies you kind of primarily focus on at the moment. Give us a little backstory. What led you up to this point? I know you also have probably an interesting story. Let's go all the way back to college.
Okay.
Let's go to, your college years, what you're going for, what you're
Yep.
doing, and then how that ended up leading you into where you're at.
Yeah. So, there's a couple of different ways to go about this, but I was actually a marine science major back in college. I wanted to swim with Shamu and dolphins and things, and I ended up getting my degree at Coastal Carolina University in marine science. Well, I believe that we go through experiences in life that really do help us in the long run, even if we're not going to be doing the types of things that we prepare for in that moment that we think we're going to be doing. And that being said, I'm not doing a dang thing with marine science right now. It's not a thing. But the fact of the matter is that college helped me kind of be resourceful, right? And learn how to find ways to get to a place where I am right now. Now, studying marine science, I ended up meeting my wife right out of college. Graduated, wasn't really doing too much. I kind of learned how to do some sales afterwards, but I met my wife pretty much a few months after college, right? And she's a Southern Belle, and we had discussed our life goals and things like that. And the thought process I had coming out of college was go to grad school. And I was kind of learning about how the systems and processes of taking on more debt to be able to gain possibilities of finding more jobs elsewhere was going to be a huge factor of this. And so I kind of saw her entrepreneurial spirit, and I wouldn't be here today without her by any means, because here's the thing is she actually helped me see that I can do something on my own and build something from it. And it has been a blessing from day one to be able to see that. And so what I ended up doing was I learned how to sell through multiple different jobs. I didn't know what I was doing still. Couldn't find a good footing in any of these positions. And I just kind of learned how to sell for about 8 years, roughly 8 years right after college, and in college a little bit. And with that experience, I started a nonprofit with marine science. Thought I was going to do something with that. Didn't really work out because I cared about what people thought. And that was a huge deal. I had no idea how to really do my own thing and be happy with and be proud of it. I cared that the other nonprofits in the area were just kind of talking junk about me, and there was a lot of rumors. It was kind of unnerving, actually, to see it go on. But nevertheless, to digress, we ended up going on our honeymoon to Bora Bora, and her and I love to travel. We do it consistently now. We enjoy it so much so. And she said, "Hey, here's a GoPro." And I was like, "What do you mean here's a GoPro? I don't know anything about I don't know what to do with this." And I ended up getting a bunch of film from Bora Bora from it. I've used it once in a while beforehand, but I not really dived deep into it. This time, I was diving deep because I wanted to, capture those moments that we were going to have on our honeymoon. And after the honeymoon, she's like, "You got all this footage. What are you going to do with it?" I said, "What do you mean? I don't know how to do any of that, right?" So I watched a video. I looked up on YouTube. I remember the first video I saw was something by the name of a guy named Sam Colden. I typed in travel videos, how to, something like that. And something popped up, and it was this kid named Sam Colden who filmed something in, I believe it was Bali or Belize or something like that. It was one of these other countries that he had traveled to. And he made this piece of art. And I'm just getting goosebumps thinking about it right now, because this piece of art was amazing to see that this is possible at the level of a freelance kid who's doing this, in the back end. He may be an influencer right now, and he may have the whole back end, like a massive crew of people helping him out. But the fact of the matter is this guy started from nothing and has built this crazy company and started doing these travel films. The transitions, the sound effects, the design, the color, all that just intrigued me so much so that I dove into it like head first. And for the next 4 months, I literally stayed up probably a little too late and woke up a little too early to study this stuff while I was still doing my day job. And she thought I was crazy because I was obsessing about it. Ended up creating this travel film. Looking back right now, it's probably not my most favorite thing in the world, but looking back on it right now, I'm remembering that travel film, and I made something out of it. Showed it to some people, and people loved it. I was like, wow, this is kind of neat stuff. Started learning more, trying to see where things were at in the Myrtle Beach area as far as where content kind of stays. And I was like, man, I could possibly do something with this. And after buying the equipment, doing some stuff, I ended up getting in contact with a guy that does CrossFit. And he was looking for a videographer to do a local CrossFit competition in the area. And I was going to create a video for him. It was one of my first paid jobs, like legitimate paid jobs. And I did the video for I did the video for like $300. But the fact of the matter was that he gave me the opportunity to grow. And I'm actually still doing business with him to this day. We're actually working with something else going on. He's got coming up here soon, a golf thing in the future. But the fact of the matter is that this guy gave me an opportunity to be able to utilize my talents, to be able to showcase what it is I could possibly do and change the way that people see content in our area. Now, not to say that I'm this whatever frou-frou, influencer guy or whatever, but I was able to bring a little bit of a different flavor to the area, and people started to notice that, and people started gaining confidence in me that I could actually create more content. And that's where KJM stemmed from. So
I got you beat on the first client.
Oh yeah?
My first client was a social media management client. Met him at a networking event at the time, living in rural upstate New York. I had to drive 2.5 hours just to go to this networking event.
Yeah.
And I ended up meeting this kid that had his own clothing brand, and he was talking it up and giving me business cards, and ended up getting him to jump on a phone call with me the next week. And I closed him to send me the products. I'd produce all of the content. Like, I mean models and everything.
Oh my God.
And I would publish all the content. I would manage all the social channels, answer DMs, orders, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
$45 a month. That's not 45,000, 4,500. That's $45.
Well, hey, here's the thing: is we all start somewhere, and I think that we learn that we can actually gain value and confidence in ourselves that we actually are worth more than what we actually think we are, because the value and proposition of the work that's being done going forward for these clients on a long-term basis is going to be able to change their lives and for the better, and for us to be able to really be able to provide value for someone who is trying to create their own journey and their own dream. What kind of worth is that? What kind of value is that? There's not if we can do the good work and do it in the right way to provide the right ROI for people, man, I tell you what, there's no price that people wouldn't pay for something like that.
Absolutely right. Not to mention, when anybody's just getting started out in anything for that matter, the most valuable thing that you can acquire is experience. Mm-hmm. So, for a lot of, newfound business owners or young entrepreneurs or old entrepreneurs for that matter, starting their first venture, either A, paying for that experience, or, if you don't have the funds, if you don't have the money, like do free work or do very low paying work and get the experience under your belt. Yeah. It's the pursuit of mastery. That's what, going back to what you're talking about, delivery to clients, delivering results. We talk about results. That's the centerfold of, our entire proposition on both of our businesses. Yeah. And, similarly to the fact that you said, it's a lot about the results and being able to change, the client's life and being able to make their business more successful or whatever it may be. It's also with a lot of businesses that we work with, it's companies that then are improving the lives of others. So it's compounding. Yeah. Talk about, next level mobility, they're working to, better the health and lives of many people. Yeah. So we're able to kind of play a role in that. And I think that's very cool. That's what my calling is.
It's really cool that you're bringing that point up. We get to play that small role that ends up, feeding out into multiple different things. But overall, we kind of are making people's lives better. Right. And that's what we enjoy.
That's why I'm in this business. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great to experience, a level of monetary success. And for business owners, I think that the reason that there is, even for myself at times, there's such a fixation on profits, on revenue, on money, is because it really is when you base basically break it down to the simplest component, it's a really good scoreboard as a business owner. It's a great sign of, where you're at in your journey or what level of success that you've reached. But it does not necessarily mean that you are successful.
Yeah.
Like success is defined by what you define success as from your perspective. So like for me, it would be, making a good living, being able to give opportunity to others to work for, Blades Marketing, to be able to work for my company, being able to put food on their table, create opportunity for them, for their family, things like that, but also to impact the lives of the clients that we work with and the people that come in contact with the businesses that our clients own.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I've been able to cultivate this company 963 Film Group, and I'm a newer business owner. I don't know what I'm doing still, but I'm starting to see this thing of being able to pay some employees, being able to make some changes in their lives, and whether it's small or large, there is a good feeling of success that comes from that. I don't really see monetary value as the biggest thing in the world. As long as I get to travel with my wife, I really don't care what kind of house or what kind of car I drive. It's kind of my forte is travel. But
or so you can fuel your gym obsession, your home gym.
That too. I'll admit that too. Yeah. But I think that's like you're saying, success comes in many ways, and that's something that comes from me is seeing the change of being able to provide that for some guys in the area is kind of neat in my eyes. So
I absolutely agree. That's one standard and one precedent that I know that I myself am trying to set, and I will always expect my company and those involved to set, is that the prioritization of giving, of giving back to, whether it's the community, but, for me, like just being the bigger kind of thinker, just the world, like why create something if it's not going to make people's lives better? For some cases, difference. Yeah. For some cases, you might be creating something just to make you and your wife's life better. You go home, you go to the grocery store, you get some food, you make some nice dinner, created something. Yeah. You guys get to enjoy that moment. You made both of your lives better. Yeah. Great. There's nothing wrong with also creating things to make your life better or for your own selfish desires at times. But I think at scale, something I'm trying to really focus on and always have is just giving back and creating opportunity for others.
It's really fun to be able to do stuff like that. It really is. And I don't think people understand the face value of being able to provide for someone and what that can do in the long term of their own lives, right? 963 Film Group was actually founded off of the base of Christianity, right? And so we kind of, all the film group guys are Christians, and they ended up loving to be able to interact with people because we get to kind of share our story a little bit and our testimonials and things like that. We like to be able to not push that, but be able to use that as a front so that we can show that we're changing some people's lives in different ways, not just, the actual business value, but we want to be a good company to provide good value, not just in the film space or the ROI space. We want to change people's lives by, being in front of them, interacting with them, being a friend to them when they need, someone to talk to. There's a client I'm kind of dealing with right now, and the guy's going through some tough stuff, and I can't say too much about it, but we've had conversations where I'm just kind of being there for him as a friend, and I'm being there for him to kind of talk to, whether or not he's really realizing it or like he's knowing it. It's always in the back of my mind, to say, hey, how you doing today, or hey, how's things going? Like, let me know if you need any, want to talk to. It's human to do stuff like that. Right. And I think we should be doing that no matter what. But providing that kind of value is not just the value that the business provides, but the value of you being a good, decent human being. Right. So
I think you mentioning how that religious fabric that's kind of intertwined within the foundation of 963 and of its creation, you know, that really goes back to what you were talking about from the moral standpoint of like, you know, it's not necessarily separating personal interaction with people that may or may not be your clients versus business interaction where it's kind of like monetary, but being able to actually, you know, deal with clients on a personal level and understand that, you know, they have stuff going on in their lives too. And being able to, that goes right back to the conversation around results.
Yeah.
Like if you're not providing a result for a client, in my humble opinion, I think that you shouldn't want to be working with that client. You shouldn't want that client to be paying you if you aren't providing a result for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not why people like you and I get in this game.
No, not at all. I never want to work with a client that doesn't feel like they could succeed with the work that we do. I actually had someone that was really excited about doing work with us, and I had to kind of step back and be like, okay, is this guy actually ready to step into this, you know, with us? Is he the right kind of client for this? And long story short, he wasn't, and it's okay for that. We don't need every client like we've talked about before and some of the other, you know, podcast stuff we've done. But those kind of clients that we feel like we could make an actual difference in, that's the one we look for, right? Once we want to work with is because we know that we can make a good difference, you know, and that's what we strive to do is make the good difference, but work with the ones that can actually adhere to that good difference and do some work on their own. We can hold the hand a little bit, but they've got to do the work themselves too, right?
Right. I've witnessed firsthand too the way you've worked with clients on that front as well. You know, a client that maybe the initial proposal includes, you know, a wide array of testimonial videos, brand videos, as some other, you know, factors as well. And then in the proposal meeting during conversation with some of their questions coming up, I see you reading the situation and understanding like, okay, I'm starting, they're painting the picture for me furthermore, even, you know, because a discovery meeting you can only get so far. Yeah. You know, when you're sitting down with numbers, you can see the lack of better words, you can see the sweat beating up on their forehead. You know, you can see how they're feeling emotionally more so. Yeah. And, you know, for some, they don't bat an eye, but for others, you know, you can genuinely see like it's becoming a much bigger thing for them. And I think I've seen you in those moments, you know, recalibrate and adjust and come back the next meeting with a adjusted proposal that has, well, hey, I can see that this was stretching you. And even if they would have closed on it, I can see that this is stretching the comfortability of your business, and we're here to provide results and to work with you long-term. So I made some adjustments so that we're able to establish that foundation and then build it in the future. Yeah,
I think there's a lot of money hungry people out there always wanting the next thing. And you're absolutely right. You know, one of my biggest accounts that I work with, I just had a conversation with them today, and I was like, hey, we got this great idea. Can we do this with this content that we've created? And they were all about it. They're like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. But we want to focus on what we've got right now to be able to push this so that, you know, later on down the road we can do that. And I was like, yes, absolutely. I think that's a smart move, but that content's just sitting there. Let's do something with it. And they have the availability and means to do so. So it was kind of like a conversation of, hey, I understand where you guys are at and what your guys' position is as far as, you know, what you guys are wanting to push right now, what your marketing campaign is. But later on down the road, we can get to that and not have to money hunger and say, let's give me, let's do, right? We want to be able to provide value in ways that allows for the client to get the most out of the situation as of right now and not just destroy a marketing budget and, you know, expect that everything is video. Everything always needs to be this, you know, video. It doesn't. It's a helping hand in a long-term marketing scheme, but being able to adhere, like you're saying, you know, dial it back, change, move around. You know, we're going to be talking to a different chamber here soon, and that chamber has a limited budget. And so we're going to have to move around some things and figure things out and try to be able to adhere to them. So those kinds of things you have to be mindful as a business owner. You can't always want. I've seen guys go in front of clients and bigger types of situations. Well, I think it should be this because I think we should do all of this. And it's not the case always. It has to customize to some point. It really does. There's a fine line where prices are. There's no question about that. But if they can't afford the prices, then you refer them to someone else. It's not that hard. So stop. I think it's hard for people to stop being money hungry when they've never seen money before, right? I think it's hard for people to not be desperate when they've never seen full-blown success over a long period of time. I think it's hard. So
the trouble with the money component of that, especially when people are just starting out, is I know for myself, at the beginning I didn't have money. I didn't have money to take care of myself, like personally, financially. Lucky for me, I was running the company out of my parents' basement. So I was pretty well taken care of. Mm. A lot of people, don't even have that. Mm-hmm. A lot of people maybe, especially if they're starting a little later on in life. And that's why, I think that if you're looking to start a company and you have a job, keep the job at first. The company, as much as you think, okay, well, if I quit the job, I would have, all the hours in that week to work on the company, and then its growth would be expedited. Well, the second that you cut off that money that's coming in, subconsciously, unless you have enough put away, subconsciously you take on this mentality, and people don't even realize, like, they're carrying it into sales situations. They're carrying it with them in their interactions with clients. And in the back of it, in the forefront, they may be like, oh, I want to grow this company. I'm really passionate about this. I want to get huge results, all these great things to stand for. But in the back of their head, their subconscious mind is constantly saying, well, we got to eat. Like, you better make this work, or we have to close this deal. Or if this deal doesn't close for this amount, we're not going to make rent this month. Yep. It's that scarcity mentality, that scarcity mindset that I know, like, for me, was an extreme hindrance at my start. It was like, just taking on clients I maybe shouldn't have. It was always trying to drive for the sale, being like, I remember, one thing I remember vividly is like sweating profusely in sales situations, because I would get so worked up the hour leading up to it, sitting there with my notepad and writing stuff down and doing all my research, looking at the client, and just telling myself, oh, if I could only close this, my problems would be solved. Yeah. And I guess I came to learn two things as I moved out of that. And the first is, you always think it's going to be just signing that client and it's enough. But if you're like me or like you, it's never enough. No. And it's not even about the money. Yeah. It transcends that completely. Yeah. It's a game. It's a sport. It's competitive nature. Yeah. And then second of all, as well, as like, as soon as I started making, decent money at the start, I would jump on discovery meetings, because I wasn't there to scramble to try and sell. Yeah. I just jumped on them selflessly, would pull up all their information and stuff, and just have a conversation, get to know a person, form a genuine connection, a genuine bond. Yeah. And just give them value. Mm-hmm. My strategy from day one, I don't know how you do discovery calls. Yeah. I don't know how you run your discovery calls exactly, but I know for me, for the better part of, I've been in business a little over 3 years now. So probably for the better part of the last 2 years, I get on a discovery call, I give value, I have a conversation, I get to know a person. That's it. If it comes down to the end of the call, I'll say, well, it was a pleasure meeting with you. Have a great rest of your day. Let me know if you need anything. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny, because ever since doing that, now it's like, now all they want to know is about my services at the end, or what we can do for them. Yeah. And if they don't, I don't care regardless. Yeah. I'm in this game to help people, and like long term. Mm-hmm. I'm always thinking long term.
It's funny you say the discovery call, because I love the discovery call. I love it, because I used to be, You want to get a video done? Huh? You want to get a video done? Huh? Sound good? You ever thought about video marketing? Let's do video marketing.
I was the same way. The one call close.
Yeah, exactly. One call close. And it's funny because, you know, my experience in sales has been good and bad at so many different levels. I first was selling to residential, and then I was selling business to business, and, you know, back and forth with that kind of stuff. And it was so interesting because the more that I stopped trying to sell, the better the sales came along. The more that I was trying to ask for a coffee, the better the sales came along. The better that I was trying to see how the person's weekend was, because I heard that their grandmother passed away the weekend before that, the better the sales came along. We're humans. We have to connect. We have to be able to be personable. No one's going to buy your services. They don't give a crap about what the service is. They want to buy what your service is going to solve for you. And the closer and the better that I learned that, the better that things went for myself and the company in general. And I've seen too many guys just jump the gun so quick. You know, it takes 50 hours of in-person time for someone to actually start trusting you. You know how many like that, the 50 different times for you to actually start trusting someone and someone trusting you fully, legitimately. Different networking groups, different types of meetings, whatever kind of counsel this and counsel that you're going to be at. It takes that long. It really does, for people to actually start understanding you and see who you are before they trust you, especially if you're doing high ticket items. I mean, it's you have to be able to come down, start talking like a human being, and start saying, hey, if you're interested, great, cool. If not, would love to see if, you know, we can set up a one-on-one. Let's have a coffee. That is the best line I've ever had before. I mean, let's get a Starbucks, doesn't matter, whatever it is, a pumpkin spice latte. If
Matches the hair.
Matches the hair. Let's just sit down and get to know each other. And from that comes interest. You know, from that comes, oh, this is different. I'm learning from you. You actually have value. You actually can provide value, you know, for the right kind of people. They understand what it is and what we're doing and how we're doing it. It's different. It's you know, we don't, in 963, we don't use actors. We don't use actresses. Not to say that we won't.
That's because you guys are all so good looking, so you don't.
Oh yeah, that's what we do. Right? That's what we do. Christian's got the flow, right? Christian's got the flow. But we do documentaries for businesses. That's literally what we do. I didn't realize what it was until, you know, someone said something. It's like, kind of like you guys are doing documentaries. It's like, yeah, it's so neat. And I just had someone reach out the other day, a company that does construction around that. And he's like, hey man, I want to tell our story. Let's have a conversation. I was like, heck yeah, that's right. Yeah, it sounds cool, man. Let's go and get a coffee sometime and talk about it. There's a coffee again, right? Stuff like that. It just seems so cool to be able to do what we do, because we learn about people's personalities and stuff and story, and, you know, anyway, but.
Absolutely. I actually had this thought. This was probably like one of those midnight thoughts that I had the other day. And I remember I just immediately, I think I actually might have woken up to this thought. Like, it might have been one of those like abrupt wake up moments. And I immediately grabbed my phone. And for me, if I have like a spur of the moment thought or something, most people have like a notepad. I used to like write down a notebook or something. Mm-hmm. That got to be too much maintenance. So now, or I would be flipping through pages and like I'd be like writing backwards cursive because I'm half asleep.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Now I just pop my phone open and I just tweet it and I put it out there, and my Twitter's literally just for like me. Yeah. Like, it's just my archive to like think.
Yeah.
And
it's a public archive.
Right. I know, my public-private archive.
Public-private archive.
But I think it was something along the lines of, you know, if you want to know how to truly, you know, not just be successful in an industry or in a space or in an area, but if you want to dominate, if you want to set a precedent, give more value to people in the community around you, the people you're trying to work with, for free than your competitors are making them pay for.
Yeah.
And
dang, yeah, I like that.
Like, give more for free. Like, for me, I will give. I'm not, you know, and when it comes time for me to take, it's being given to me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just, yeah, that was my midnight.
That needs to be on a t-shirt.
I could probably make that happen.
Heck yeah. Blades Marketing.
Yep.
The label. Yeah, exactly. That's how you do it.
But it's, giving value.
Yeah.
So moving on to kind of our next little segment here. So there have been some rodents in the neighborhood that I'm living in at the moment. And I keep hearing your name come up. They have been talking some shit about you.
Oh, yeah?
Like,
cool. Good.
You got some kind of problem. So
okay, I'm happy with that.
Something about you used to mess with them or trap them or something along those lines.
Oh, geez. Here we go. No, man. Look, I used to sell wildlife removal. I actually was asked to be a salesman for the company. I would do the work myself, and man, I was chasing snakes and raccoons through attics and crawl spaces, and I don't know what the heck I was doing. It's funny because one of my previous coworkers I was good friends with reached out to me, and he's starting his own company, and now he wants to do some video for it. But it was so funny because I haven't talked to the guy forever. He was sitting at the table, and we were like, man, how long has it been since I sweated through a shirt? You know, so it's yeah, dude, totally. It was. Yeah, I'm not a fan, but yeah.
Whereabouts in your life was that span? Was that between the sales job and starting the companies?
When I got out of Marine, I'm telling. Okay, this is so true. This is beyond true. This is like the most blatant out there. When I was graduating Coastal, I went to Google and typed in jobs with animals in it. The first thing that popped up was wildlife removal specialist. I had no idea what it meant. I had zero clue. It said specialist. It said wildlife. I was like, heck yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Not a good idea. I'm not the kind of person that needs to be doing that stuff. I was great at sales of it. That's, yeah, great. But God forbid if I'm ever on a I don't even know if this is the correct terminology, a 70-degree roof, you know, a pitch of 912 or something stupid. I probably not true. Right. God forbid if I'm on a 70-degree angle roof and I'm chasing bats again, because they can fit through the size of the hole of my pinky somewhere on some other house. Like, that's never going to happen. But but it taught me how to be resilient again, work hard, and tough it out.
Yep.
I would be in attics in the middle of July in South Carolina chasing raccoons. Do you understand how difficult and hard and sweaty and nasty and how much suffering I had to go through for that?
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, it was not fun.
But you're right about being able to take something from any experience, no matter how shitty it is.
Yeah.
Worst job I can think of that I ever had was I was a maintenance worker one summer, and figured we were going to be doing what most maintenance workers are doing. You know, you're cutting grass, you're hauling shit, you're setting things up,
yep,
taking stuff down, like manual labor. I knew what I was signing up for and was up for it. And it was for a summer camp.
Okay.
And what I didn't know fell under our jurisdiction, because they do not have a separate cleaning staff, is we were responsible for cleaning all of the staff and camper bathrooms. And there were, I think, like 5 or 6 like large bathrooms. And because me and a buddy of mine, you know, we were the younger guys in the crew, we usually got suckered with it. And I can't remember exactly when, but I think we clocked in at work at 7 a.m. So I drive out there, clock in at 7, and from about 7:15, 7:30 to just before lunch, you know, somewhere around noon, we were in bathrooms, hose and shit. And all summer, I spent half my summer in a bathroom. But like, I learned so much from that experience not literal application wise. But it was just like just learning to like do what you have to do. Obviously that was like not a one.
So it's funny you say that because I've preached on, there's no question I'm a CrossFitter. Okay.
You are?
Yeah. There's this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You're into the bodybuilding stuff.
No, that's adorable. That's not, I don't know. Anyway, what I mean by that is that I like to suffer. As weird as that sounds. I like to be able to push my body to whatever limit I can to, get a workout done in the amount of time or lift amount of weight or something like that to be able to enjoy it. And it's fun. It's a weird thing that we enjoy, but I've actually put that into place in different types of working environments that I put myself in. So I kind of enjoyed that when I was doing wildlife removal. Not gonna lie, I'm literally doing like functional fitness through attics. Like it's just wild how much it was. Don't try to CrossFit your way through an attic; you'll fall through the roof. I promise. I've already done it. So, but the fact of the matter is that I've put that into film work now. And I've done some 12-hour days in just straight shooting consistently the whole day, running around like a chicken with my head cut off. But I enjoy it. And it's gotten me jobs because I've been able to suffer, because I've been able to push, because I've been able to utilize my mind and my body in ways that people aren't willing to, and been able to push to get the shot, push to find that perfect angle, find this and that in the most difficult situations. I film CrossFit right now. Like that's just one of the things that I do regularly with 963. And being in a small little area when someone has 300 pounds over their head and trying to squat that is the scariest thing you'll ever see in your life. And I've had someone almost drop weight in front of me, but I was able to get the shot because of trying to be risky with it. You got to put yourself in mindsets and certain situations, whatever kind of job you're in. There's going to be situations where it's going to be mind numbing. It's going to be harsh. It's going to be hard. You're not going to feel good doing it. You're not going to feel comfortable doing it, but you have to push yourself in order to get to a place where you want to go, because other people are not going to go to those lengths. They're just not. If you want to be obsessed, if you want to get to a place where people don't understand, you have got to suffer. And no one understands that. That isn't successful. People who are not successful do not understand that. So.
Sounds like really a lot about like a lot of what David Goggins talks about. I don't know if you know who David is.
I don't know.
You would like David Goggins.
Yeah.
I'd look into him.
Is he that?
David's
athletic?
SEAL.
Yeah, the black dude. Yeah. He's awesome.
Absolute,
I freaking love his stuff.
Absolute animal.
He's an animal. It's one of his things. He's on a podcast about if you don't go to that limit.
What you literally just said was. Yeah. See, I find it funny that you didn't know. Like.
Yeah, names and faces anyway.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But that's exactly what he preaches and what he stands for. Is like it's really trial by pain.
Yeah.
But that trial, it never ends.
Yeah.
There's always because once you break one barrier and you become comfortable outside of within that realm of pain, there's another barrier for you to now pursue.
Yeah.
It's like people who like runners, runners that are in crippling pain running a 5 mile day, 5 days in a row, and then 5 miles becomes easy.
Yeah.
So they got to push for 6.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're David Goggins, as soon as 5 comes easy, you're pushing for 100.
Yeah, dude's a psychopath, but he's not wrong, and you're not wrong. You got to go to a place where people don't understand you. They don't get you. They don't understand it, because they've never worked that hard or even had the desire to work that hard for something that they don't have.
Right.
And I've gotten to that place many times. My wife has allowed me to, spend mornings without her, spend evenings, the same evenings without her, multiple days in a row sometimes, to be able to do what it is that I love to do, but be also able to strive to success of understanding exactly what it is. Sometimes you have to sacrifice. And those kinds of there's plenty of jobs out there that have to do it no matter what. But mentally, as a man or a woman, it's okay to make sacrifices for your family. I think people don't care too much about that. They don't like those words too often. But you are in the long run doing it for the better good of your family. And if your other doesn't support that, there's some back end agendas that aren't really happening there that should be. You know, maybe you're not just not doing what you need to be doing.
You're absolutely right. And you are very blessed to have been lucky enough to find someone that's like that, because it is an ongoing struggle, especially, you know, there are levels to this too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've known people who are driven, who, you know, are willing to push their limits, but they'll only push it so far. Other people, it's like for me, like, I feel like somebody just, you know, manufactured this vehicle without the brakes. And, you know, it's like, do I crash and burn a lot? Yeah, I do, because of it. But it's like, there is no ceiling. Like, eventually some of us will push to the point where we come to that realization that, like, even the concept of a ceiling, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, the only concept I really have of, like, a ceiling is like 6 feet of dirt over the top of me. And, you know, you're very, very blessed to have found someone that definitely, you know, I've met your wife a couple times now, and, you know, she definitely compliments you. Yeah. You know, makes you look a little more appealing in public. I'm sure.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
you're welcome.
I don't do that so much justice at all. So,
but, you know, it's just to find that support system. Many entrepreneurs don't. Many people don't. Many people it's hard enough to find a partner in this world. It's hard enough, you know, with just all of the dynamics at play. And I think, and then you tack on the fact that, like, you have this limitless mentality of, like, I want to accomplish it all, not for the trophies and the accolades, but because there's some innate drive inside of me that wants to test my limits constantly.
Well, it's crazy. Like, I've never understood this hell or high water mentality that I have, but it's something that that drives me every single day to do what I'm doing, in, out of the gym, in, out of work, in, out of shooting, in, out of, even with my wife. You know, there's some weird mental something that I have inside of me that makes me push to a place that I've had people question me constantly on it. That's how I've been. It's how I've grown up.
Yep. So. Well, friends will be the first ones to question it, you know, because it's like, why aren't you hanging out with us anymore?
Why are you trying so hard? Why are you?
Right. Or he's just trying to inflate his ego, or, you know, there's a lot of different reasons that people might look at it.
Oh, he's a busy man now.
Right. It's all jokes, and, you know, it's fun and games. And then the first ones to say, oh, I knew you'd make it one day or something, you know, as soon as you see your first bit of success.
How come you're not famous yet? Why don't you share my...
Yep.
Oh, man.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, even, you know, family too. Families, that's a very hard dynamic to play into, because a lot of times, like, digital marketing, okay, wasn't exactly verbiage that my parents, grandparents were familiar with. It was like, you know, what have you been up to since graduating college? Oh, well, you know, I started that digital marketing agency thing, you know, while I was still in school, and I'm taking that on full time. Oh, okay. So you should have a little more free time on your hands then. You come help me do this or that, or oh, okay. You know, like, you can almost see their eyes glaze over.
Yeah.
And it's no fault of their own. You know, it's just, it's a fairly new thing, first of all. You know, half my grandparents and parents, like, at the time, had a hard enough time using the internet, or the interweb, I should say.
Yeah, interweb.
Yep.
The webs.
Yep. I can hear the dial-up tone. But
you need to put a little soundbite on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Loading.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just, didn't even understand really, like, what I was doing, let alone, like, what's he working on down there?
Yeah.
What's he working on? And they're like,
Yeah.
it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
I signed that first client. You know, my dad was like, I remember, you know, I always kind of go to my dad, especially like when I'm talking business or whatnot. And like, yeah, you know, because he's one of the ones that always has, you know, worried about the finances of the family, you know, worked his whole life.
Yeah.
And, you know, he wants to make sure I'm like doing well financially, setting myself up, all that fun stuff. And so I would always go to him and, you know, hey, I got this 45-month client.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you know, obviously like, okay, whatever. And then it was like the second client, it was like, hey, I just signed a guy on the phone while I was pacing back and forth in the backyard. Yeah. Literally my second client, I did that. And I remember just seeing like, there was one moment, I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was like, just, he gave me a weird look. Like there was just a different look in his eye where he was like, maybe this little son of a bitch is onto something, you know? Yeah. So it's very hard. It's lonely. It's
super lonely.
You got to get good at being alone. Yeah. You have to be good at, you know, being alone with your thoughts. Yeah. That's where most people cripple. Yeah.
I actually, I'm not gonna lie, like, last night I had a panic attack. I super anxiety, like all out the roof, all those things. And I was just getting in my own head and not really sharing my thoughts, which I should have been doing with my wife and, you know, kind of letting her help me out with it. But like, we try to book out like 3 months in advance, and I'm not seeing where, you know, at the moment, it's not like a dip in the company, but it's just something where, hey, what's happening in November, man? What's happening in December, dude? Like, figure this crap out, you know? And you know, we have plenty of time, but it's just things like, hey, let's get it going. Let's figure it out. Like, why are you watching Netflix right now? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing, you know, stupid stuff like that. And that's where that mentality comes in of like, hey, get your butt into gear kind of thing. You know, I've had those looks too. I know exactly what you're talking about though with that. It's so interesting to see like, oh, this may be a thing. This may be something that could work out. I remember the first time I told my parents one of the contracts we were signing, and they were like, excuse me? That's a lot of money. What do you do? You know, they didn't understand it. They don't get it. But it's the fact of trying to, you know, build something on our own that makes sense in the long run. And we're both blessed to be in fields that, you know, are newer age, different. Future focused, you know, and we're able to, you know, I think honestly we're going to be surprising people every turn we go.
And the best part is, to me, is having the mentality of, if the internet disappears, if this whole thing ends up kind of dissipating, people go back to like, we want to have our own farmsteads and we want to go back to the old ways and we want to, you know, be old school and disconnect from the internet. Mm-hmm. We want to put the phones away. And all of a sudden, you know, kids, because it's nostalgic to them, or they think about their parents when they read a newspaper or listen to the radio or something, I'll be the first one to go into the newspaper and radio business if the results are there for my clients. Yeah. Like, just, that's something that I want to reassure the market, individuals that are eventually, you know, going to be a part of my team, clients that I'm working with, is that I am not so heavily invested in, like, personally invested. I'm not emotional. That's the best way of putting it. I'm not emotional about the services that we offer. I'm emotional about the results and the impact that we have on the world. So I'm going to adjust my strategy to make sure that we're optimizing and maximizing the results that we're able to provide. Yeah. Period.
You can be all about that. I'm cool with you doing that, but I'm not grabbing those sock puppets and no dolls and starting to do plays and things like that. I don't know if I could go back to that. I don't know if that's gonna be my thing or not.
I would think it would go to like film cameras first. So like maybe, film shoots or
I'm
something.
going way back, bro. I'm going like Renaissance.
You could have, like, the winding.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Could be cool.
Yeah, why not? Try it out.
Is it going that way? No, probably not. But I'm just, you get what I'm saying.
Yep.
And no, it's just it's a very cool place to be. I love our market, and I love working in marketing because of that perspective that we get to have on businesses, and how we get to look under the hood, and our job is to understand, okay, well, the engine's in it, so it runs.
Yep.
It's to understand the different components of that engine and ways that we can recalibrate it, replace different components, optimize certain parts, swap out do the oil change, like
put some nitrous in here.
Oh yeah. Well, once we have it optimized, that's called scale.
Yeah, it's super scale. Yeah.
Add budget.
Yeah, add budget. There you go. There you go.
It's so fun, and it is a fast moving industry, and it's
it's so cool. I enjoy it so much.
It's hard to keep up with. Like, people don't understand how hard it is to keep up with it.
So, perfect example. I was talking with one of our crew members, Michael, that is trying to get more involved with the sales portion of things. He's doing a good job, but he's trying to learn how to, really convey to the client what the sales process is and the sales funnel is when it comes to this kind of stuff. And when we talk about social media marketing, that's pretty much the basis of how we convey to our clients what it is that we do. On top of, using the assets for OTT, website, TV, things like that, whatever it may be. But I was like, man, it's a full-time job. You have to listen to podcasts that surround social media marketing. You have to listen to this. You have to listen to that. You have to go in and just dive in and find out 15 different resources that are all saying, hey, do this, cross-reference, because I'm telling you what, tomorrow you're going to be outdated. The next day, it changes. It changes every single day. It's unreal, the amount of changes that happen in social media marketing. And SEO. I mean, good Lord, it's wild. And so what we do is we try to keep up to date with that on a regular basis by listening to podcasts, going to conferences, understanding different types of webinars and Zoom calls and things of that nature that are all encompassing of these, reading articles consistently. Look, I'm not just editing video, bro. Like, I'm not just pulling a camera and shooting it. I have to know exactly how this video is going to be used for my clients to benefit from it in the long term. That's how it goes. I mean, we're shooting viral video, Instagram and TikTok reels for a lawyer right now. I mean, how ridiculous is that? But it's what's right now. It's going to get him the most eyeballs, the most traction, the most ROI from that. Okay, great. As long as it aligns with his brand, let's do it. We have to be able to adhere to things that are going to change. And people don't like change. I get it. It's all good. It sucks when Instagram's no longer doing video like in a certain ratio, but they're changing things in a different way, and we just have to adhere to it. We just have to. Because we can't control who the higher ups, what the big monsters out there are doing, like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. You can go on forever. But we have to research, man. We just have to keep researching.
You have to. You got to cut ties emotionally. Like I just said, like, you can't be. I'm not emotionally invested in a specific methodology or service. Like, I'm invested in the ability to provide results to people. Similarly with these social platforms, like, I see day in, day out, people who are blatantly emotionally invested in a certain social platform. And usually, more often than not, it's just because it's the one that when they were growing up, they used the most. Like, them and their friends interacted on Facebook, so that's their favorite.
I ain't gonna lie though, I feel really bad for photographers and Instagram.
They are getting rattled right now.
Yeah. It sucks, but
you know, they adapt. You know what? If Instagram no longer caters to photographers, then go elsewhere. Go test other platforms.
Or you could start doing reels as photos as reels.
Yeah. You can freeze frame. You're not wrong. And by the way, the data shows that it works.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what the quality of that traffic is. But regardless, you know, like simple adaptations like that.
Yep.
I see people that like quote pages that used to post graphic quotes, and they were huge pages with huge audiences. But now all of a sudden, Instagram isn't pushing out as much that static content.
Mm-hmm.
So they just graphically design their graphic on as a 5-second video that doesn't move at all.
Yep.
And it's a reel.
Yep.
See, it's like just making sure, like formatting. Adaptability. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and delve into our final segment here. I like to kind of throw questions at our guests.
Here we go. Let's do it.
Some of them I think off the top of my head.
Bring them to me.
Others I pull out of my archive here. First question, on a more serious note, is what suggestion would you have to either an entrepreneur looking to kind of start or looking to delve into the media space, looking to start their own media agency, and for creatives at scale, photographers, videographers, sound design, lighting designers, like what kind of advice would you have for those two different people?
Well, when we're talking about photographers, videographers, and all that, it's depending on what you actually want to go for, because there's like film and things like that, or there's the you know, the marketing aspect to space and things in those different types of realms. And I've met plenty of people in all those realms. They kind of overlap here and there. Connect, network, LinkedIn, things like that. Go to conferences, you know, be able to network as much as humanly possible. Cold calling is great, but it's not as effective as actually networking. Network over LinkedIn or Instagram just by talking to people through those different social platforms. Find out what you want to do, niche down into it. Stop trying to do everything. Just stop. No, you cannot be successful and do everything. It's just not in the cards. It's not in the books. It just doesn't work like that.
If you try to be everything to everybody, you end up being nobody to everybody.
Got it right that time, right? So
we'll tweet that.
All right. So the other one, what was the other question?
So for individuals maybe looking to start their own media agency.
Yeah. So really being able to find a good team. I love my team. I love being able to, correlate between them and try to figure out and bounce ideas off of them. I know a lot of, what sells. I just can't do it all. I can't do everything. So I need to be able to have some leniency on some of these guys to help create, to how to move forward and be able to let them do their own thing. If you let creatives be creatives, it usually will do a great job as long as they have the right eye. I don't see why not. There's some people out there that have different types of lenses, and everyone's going to see things a little differently. But just the other day, we're trying to create our own podcast, and we let Seth, our in-house editor, he does comedy and YouTube, is kind of the guy that goes towards that. Dude did an amazing job of creating a little trailer for it, and we all started busting up laughing because no one would have thought of what he did, but it was something funny because we let the kid be creative. So. Let creators be creative and find people you can lean on.
Awesome. If there was what is your all-time vision for your dream video job? Who would it be with? What would you be shooting? Give me the rundown.
For me, it might be coming up in April. I can't say anything about it, to be honest with you. I love sports, so it's surrounding that. But shooting fitness activities is a phenomenal for me. I would love to be able to fly an FPV drone through a rig, or let someone like Eddie Hall or the Mountain from Game of Thrones throw a sandbag in the air or something, some kind of kettlebell in the air. Let me fly the drone through the kettlebell. Something stupid like that, something crazy, something crazy ridiculous. Getting fitness content, man, shooting the games. I was so close this year. I should have gone, but I decided to be a little cocky about it. But shooting fitness content to inspire is my favorite kind of work. Let's throw some fog and haze and some really intense sliding in there, and let's make it happen. So
awesome. Olympics, maybe? Olympics would be a cool one.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think I would like to do a promo rather than shooting the actual Olympics.
Gotcha.
You know, I'd like to get Shaun White, or like, you know, get you know, if Phelps ever wanted to do something intense again, you know, where he was like in a room, it's dark, it's misty, and he like shows up and there's one light, you know, stuff like that is really neat. The difference between shooting events, yes, it's cool getting the shots where people get a gold medal, but the reaction that people get from creating a promotional for an event makes me more excited.
Or an athlete, even like you were mentioning athletes, because there's such an emotional attachment to like individual athletes.
Yeah, it's so cool because like we were talking about this the other day. I was like, what is it that I love to do? I love to get the emotion and natural effects of people through the camera lens, and that is my favorite thing, hands down. I love doing that, whether it be nature or whether it be human emotion. I freaking love it when someone is gone into a place in their mind where the suffering is actually happening.
Very cool. What is the future for 963?
The future for 963 is big. We are going to run the Myrtle Beach area. We're going to spread into other chambers. We're going to take over, and we're going to be able to run social media accounts, create content for social media accounts and create big projects at the same time while focusing on the documentary aspect of it. I will have a team of editors. I will have a team of video production assistants and directors and cinematographers to be able to take different jobs on and different specialties of what they're able to do. I'm not saying I wish, I'm saying it's going to happen. We are going to build a team out that is going to be so good at what they do that no one's not going to suggest us to do a job. Whether or not they want to go with it and have the budget availability, that's on them. I'm going to have the beach.
Very cool. Dream vacation.
It's already happened.
Really?
Not gonna lie, Bora Bora was like it. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. But we're actually thinking Thailand or Bali next. So
why Thailand or Bali?
Just tropical, different. We've been to Belize, we've been to Jamaica, Bahamas, those kinds of places. Those are kind of all the same reefs and all kind of the same deal. But I don't know. I just feel like it would be it'd be a little different going to Thailand. It's a little more. I think I don't know anything really about it, but I think it's a little more of an Asian type country. And Bali is just a place where I believe that I'd want to visit, and I think we're going to make one of those moves here soon.
Awesome. Any personal fitness goals for this year?
I'm going to snatch 205. I'm going to squat clean 245. I'm going to squat 315. I'd like to do something like that. So maybe Murph in 45 minutes. I don't know. We'll see.
Something I'd like to point out to the audience at this moment as well is when I ask you what your goals are for certain spans, when you answer those questions, every sentence that you say starts with, I'm going to, not I'm going to try. Or I hope to, or I think I can. Yeah. Like I'm going to. Whether you do or don't is irrelevant.
It's up to me, but yes, it's irrelevant.
It's I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
Respect to that.
Appreciate that.
2 final questions.
Sure.
Let me think of a good one.
When's pumpkin spice season coming?
You would know the answer to that question, wouldn't you?
End of this month.
That's definitely staying in the podcast. Okay, favorite places to go in the Myrtle Beach area on your personal time or with your wife?
North Litchfield Beach actually has a beautiful location where you can actually do a bonfire on the beach on the sand.
When was the last time you did that?
We haven't done any this year. We're actually gonna probably last fall. I've been so busy with trying to build a business, we just haven't been able to take a weekend and just breathe. But it's getting cooler. It's getting around that time. I mean, dude, we've lit up some Christmas trees over there.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's been no joke. It's a lot of fun over there. So North Litchfield Beach.
Well, we gotta plan something then.
Oh yeah,
we gotta plan it like 5 months out, but
100%. Yeah.
maybe further.
Maybe next year.
we're actually planning for 2024.
Yeah,
bonfire on the beach.
Bonfire on the beach, 2024.
Yep. We'll still miss the date because something will come up.
Yeah, something will come up. Something I have to shoot, or you have to go.
All right, final question.
Yep.
When your final day comes,
mm-hmm.
what do you want to be remembered for?
How it made a difference in people's lives. I don't care about money. I do not care about, the business, and aspects of, how big it gets. As far as changing people's lives, I want to be able to know to be a true man that changed people's lives. Too many people have aspects of their lives that they don't fulfill. And I want to be the man that, stayed true to his word through everything I did. I don't want to go back on anything I did, and I want to be as moral as possible. I'm a little harsh sometimes. There's no question about that.
You?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. I'm a little harsh. But that doesn't mean I don't try to be as truthful. I want to make a difference, to be able to show other men that they don't have to, hide behind a curtain and be this big old bulky kind of guy, or, this no feelings kind of guy. I want to be able to, influence other men to be able to change and be that change as well. So I'm doing something right now that's going to be irrelevant in 60, 70 years. I really don't care about that. I care about changing people's minds and ways and how they live.
It's a very honorable pursuit.
Appreciate that.
Kyle,
sure.
Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it's always a piece of crap time when I come by and, hang out in the office and not really get anything done and just laugh about how Myrtle Beach isn't the best place that knows how to market things. That's on there. Sorry.
Well, listen, I really do appreciate you coming on. It took long enough to get you on here, but
I know.
We finally got your hair done so you could come on, and
it's a work in progress.
And you got your Starbucks coffee there, so
Starbucks.
Well, all right, we've got work to get to. We will catch you all on the next episode.